Hi, I'm Vivek. I'm a multidisciplinary designer currently based in Baltimore, and today I'm going to talk about my year-long thesis project I did during my MFA at MICA, where I experimented on combining type and sound. Professionally, I'm a graphic designer and I love typography, but when I'm not designing, I like to create soundscapes, ambient pieces of music combining digitally produced sounds with field recordings. While pursuing my MFA, I used my thesis project as an opportunity to combine both of my practices. In the early stages of the project, I was looking for commonalities between these mediums, something that connects, something that can hold both of these mediums as one project. First interesting thing I found was the lingo of these practices. Concepts like composition, rhythm, hierarchy, pacing, etc., are common in both. But the biggest commonality I found was how evocative both of these mediums were. I think typography and the way it is designed or composed in a medium conveys a certain emotion in itself. Each and every typeface has its own voice, and music is one of the most evocative mediums out there. I started with flow. According to Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, a Hungarian psychologist, whose name I'm definitely butchering. The state of flow is when someone gets wholly absorbed in the activity at hand and achieves optimal experience and genuine satisfaction. As artists and designers, I feel we are very familiar with the state of flow, and I think it's one of the best things about what we do. For the musical aspect, I try to capture the feeling with an ambient soundscape. To quote Brian Eno, a musician, record producer, and a visual artist, ambient music is intended to induce calm and a space to think, which I thought went with the concept of flow very well. It's a mellow piece that consists of a continuous soft bass line, a synth melody, which is predominantly on the minor key, and some choir sounds in the mix. To visualize the flow in the typographical form, I started experimenting with the type structure by constructing it with recurring circles. Because circles don't have corners or defined beginning or an end, it suggests a continuous sort of movement. So I stacked them in a repetitive manner to create a tunnel like visual, analogizing the focused state of mind. Considering the repetition of shapes will also give it a rhythmic quality of sorts. I played with varied sizes and overlapping of the circles. Varied sizes of circles was doing an interesting thing. It was adding a sort of typographical contrast to the type forms while also giving it a wave like visual flow. Employing a similar technique, I designed serif like projections off of the main structure. I opted for bigger circles in those projections as I wanted to keep the feeling of openness to the design. This is the complete set of alphabets that I designed. Now was the most interesting part, to combine the type with a sound. I took my design to processing, which is a Java based coding software for designers, and assigned the frequency data from particular channels from my music to this to the set of circles in my type. So as the assigned frequency changed in the music, so did the sizes of the circles, creating this ripple motion as a result. And this is the final piece of type interacting with the music. Enjoy. I went ahead and did some printing materials for this. I designed by capturing some of my type forms in the middle of um, interacting with the music or the actual designs, the initial designs that I designed for the type. Second is angst or anxiety. It's an emotion of mental chaos starting from a single negative thought. It disrupts the entire mental peace. I faced a lot of anxiety, especially in 2020, so I really want to capture this emotion. With this musical composition, I was trying to create an eerie and ominous atmosphere and a feeling of constant danger, very much inspired from Johan Johansson's musical score from the movie Arrival. Visualizing this emotion in the type forms, I knew I had to start with an orderly form, a metaphorical calmness or perfection of maybe grid like structures, and then break that grid to introduce the chaos. To highlight the order in the first stage, I designed my type forms with lines and angular shapes sticking closely to my grid structure. For the other end of the spectrum, with the use of code, I randomized the intersection of the grid structure, generating a jumbled up disarray of shapes and lines, giving only hints of the typographic form of the early stage. To give my typeface the ability to interplay with the music, I assigned the distribution array of randomizations to map and reflect the changes in the selected musical frequencies. So the more changes in the frequency, more randomizations in the type forms. And this is the complete set of alphabets. And this is the final piece with the music. Enjoy. Third is endure. I like to think endurance is an emotion of progression. It is not static. I like to think to endure is not to just go through or last in a situation, but to come out stronger, which is what I try to show in the musical piece. To show this progression in the typographic context, I knew I would have to develop variable stages representing this progression and rise. I decided to start with a thin set of glyphs formed out of broken lines, sequencing from that initial stage to a more unbroken and then stable and bolder type forms. I used code to generate morphing stages in between these extremes to connect and bring everything together, making it one typeface. This is the complete set of alphabets. And finally, the type forms reacting to music. These are the printed materials I designed for Endure. In a similar vein to the earlier ones, it has in a similar vein to the earlier ones, it has type specimens and posters and other stuff. The final is twinge. Twinge is an experience of mental pain, and it is sudden and sharp and intense. The sharpness of the emotion was the inspiration behind the sound and the visuals in this case. The music consists of recurring high pitched bell like synth sounds. To achieve that sharpness in the type form, I added protruding thorn like extensions to the type and added variable stages, increasing and decreasing the amount of these thorns, representing the increase and decrease in the intensity of pain. This is the complete set of alphabets. And this is the type forms reacting to music. And finally, I'll leave you with the printed materials I did for the twinge. Thank you.